I wanted to talk to you today about fairy tales. Now, I've been recently very into this book from my childhood that I got from my mother. Actually, it was given to my sister for her birthday, according to the inscription there, from my grandmother. I'm hoping my sister doesn't ask for it back because I'm really enjoying these stories. I was warned initially not to read them to my kids, but they can handle them, and my son in particular is enthralled by them. Most of the tales are joyously ridiculous and imaginative in a way that defies logic and also in some ways defies the rules of effective storytelling. Now, I wanted to read you a quote from one of my favorites. Um, this is one of the more gruesome ones, kind of a olden times version of CSI, in which the bone of a murder victim is made into a flute and when played sings the song of what happened to this guy. So this is the song the bone sings in the Singing Bone. Ah, dear shepherd, you are blowing your horn with one of my bones, which night and morn lies still unburied beneath the wave, where I was thrown in a sandy grave. I killed the wild boar, and my brother slew me, and gained the princess by pretending 'twas he. And the killer is brought to justice, and everybody's happy, even the murder victim who gets a proper burial at last. And then we move on to a story about a princess who breaks out of prison using a butter knife. So you can see the imagination there and the fantastical elements, the magic in these stories, and just like the ridiculous fun that you have. Moving on the subject of fairy tales, I have this is the first movie I ever saw as a child. I've seen it many more times since then, and so help me, I love Disney princesses. They get a lot of flack for being sexist and providing poor role models for our daughters. But think about this way: there is a version of Snow White in the Grimm's fairy tales. But in the Grimm's tales, there's no kiss of true love, and in fact, you're not so much worried about whether or not the girl wants to marry the guy. We never really know whether Snow White is okay with the prince carrying her comatose body off into the sunset. In this version, Snow White actually seems to like her prince. So I think that is a marked improvement and a really worthwhile film to watch. Now, there is another type of fairy tale that I want to leave you with. It is one that has always inspired me. It has been called modern mythology, and it has enriched my childhood and my adult life so much. I just love it. And of course, I'm talking about Star Trek. Now, this is the my Blu-ray copy of the Next Generation Season 1, nerd alert, and the imagination and magic and fantasy that is present here is in this series in spades. It's certainly not the only science fiction series this is true of. And if you're looking for the fairy tales of our day, look no further than science fiction. In this, we replace the enchanted forest with outer space, and we replace the ultimate prize of marrying a princess with the joy and wonder of discovering new life and new civilizations. And I wanted to kind of illustrate what I mean. I wanted to pick a certain quote from the series. So this is from season 1, from a episode called The Lonely Among Us. Now, this is Picard speaking, and he's under the influence of an energy being who was accidentally ripped from its home in a nebula and trapped aboard the Enterprise, and he describes sort of what happened. A frightening experience for any intelligent being, as if a great claw reached down and scooped up any of you from your homeworld, drawn into the energy pathways of this vessel. It found its way to you, Worf, frantic at being carried from its home. Recognizing you as sentient beings, it pleaded for help, but in ways you could not understand, going desperately from one to another of you, then discovering the computer intelligence in the ship's memory circuits, simplistic intelligence, but it furnished a way to slow this Enterprise thing that had captured it. Now, only a human being could have come up with something so ludicrous and awesome. Now, I hope you can see that there is a logical progression and a comparison to be made between this and this and this, and it just goes on and on. There are so many stories. The joy of stories lives on. Bye.